Hello students, and welcome to the next lesson in our AS Psychology course. Today we're going to be looking at the factors affecting conformity. The factors affecting conformity. People can resist conformity when in a number of situations. They don't accept to take the majority view, however, they may end up doing so in the end. So, exposure to dissent is a factor which can actually make you resist conformity. Seeing people resist a majority view can give someone the idea that there is an alternative. This can reduce the likelihood of conforming only to a single option because they know that there are other options out there which may suit their opinion. For example, in Nash's line theory, when the participant in the experiment had an ally, conformity levels dropped. This is because there was another alternative given to them, and as a result, exposure to dissent allowed them to know that that other option was more suiting to them, so it reduced the rates of conformity. Reactance. Some people will oppose a view just because they're adamant that they don't agree with it. It's harder for them to therefore conform because they're harder to be swayed. People can then have a high or a low reactance, and as a result, this is going to cause them it's going to allow them more likely to resist conformity. For example, people with high reactance in the civil rights movement didn't conform to the societal regulations which are provided. For example, Rosa Parks. She was adamant that she did not agree with the idea that a black person should have to give up their seat on the bus to a white man. So as a result, she said no, and she stayed on her seat on the bus. And as a result, that was a massive moment in the civil rights movement. Psychological identity. Mungy showed that one is more likely to resist conformity if they share opposing views with other people in the group. So, if they believe, well, a certain person believes that they have a psychological identity in their group, the person will resist conforming to other views which are brought upon them. For example, in kind of the 50s in USA, for example, or the UK, feminist groups, a lot of them came together in order to try and win the right to, for example, to vote or to be treated as equals, and because they were in groups where they shared a psychological identity one with another, they therefore knew that they were going to resist conforming views for others because they had other people which shared the opposing views with them. So as a result, it was harder to get them to conform, and therefore women were treated as equals more often. Group size. Conformity is at its absolute highest when the group is made between 3 and 5 people. Now Stang said that as the group then grows in size of above 5 people, it's easier to resist conformity. This is because it's harder to get noticed by the whole group if you don't conform. So as a result, as informational social influence states, that if you are in this group of loads of, let's say, 100 people and you leave, they're not going to judge you as much because you're not going to be noticed since it's only 1 out of 100 leaving. If you're in a group of 3 and you did then decide to leave, that's 2 of the people, 66% of that group, noticing that you're leaving, and as a result, because of informational social influence, you're not actually going to want to leave because you're feared that you're going to get judged. However, in informational social influence, the greater the size of the group, the more people conform because they're getting judged. Now this isn't when you're leaving a group, as I've just explained, but this is actually when perhaps you're wanting to join a group. Now, in the example of informational social influence, if you're in a nightclub and you see more and more people acting in a certain way, you are probably going to be more likely to conform in order to be accepted into this group and not be judged. However, if you are leaving, then it's a lot easier to leave if the group is much bigger rather than much smaller for Stang's reasoning. And in group unanimity. If the group is unanimous in its opinion, it is harder to resist conforming to that group. If the group is not unanimous, however, there's going to be a lot less pressure or significance because there's no really able or opportunity to conform, and it's easier to resist. So it's kind of similar to the exposure to dissent. If a group is unanimous in its decision, of course it's going to be much harder to actually oppose that view. So for example, in Ash's line study, when all the participants gave an incorrect answer, but the one who gave the correct one actually were to give it, there would be a lot less conformity because everyone was actually saying their answer. So as a result, the unanimous decision actually caused them to probably believe that that is the right decision and therefore they conformed. Another example is the way the law operates. It's a known fact that in every society, murder is punishable by law, and as a result, unanimously across the globe, murdering is wrong. So as a result, no one really contests that kind of idea by thinking that murder is not wrong, because everyone is unanimous in decision, and therefore it's a lot harder to resist conforming to a massive group of every single person that in it. Here are some questions on the factors affecting conformity and what can lead you to perhaps not conform. Have a go at answering these on another sheet of paper by pausing the video, and then hit play whenever you're ready to see the answers. Here are the answers. If you got all of these right, congratulations. I'd advise you to move on to the next video, which will be on social roles. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you